It's 6 o'clock. This is Anglia Tonight.
First with the news from Norfolk, Suffolk and Essex.
Tonight's top story, is it ghostly good fun or a Halloween horror? Why October the 31st really is a nightmare for many.
We want it to go ahead, we want people to enjoy themselves, but we don't want them to overstep the mark.
Extra police patrols amid fear.
Sorry, we've got some technical problems this evening. Hopefully that's the last of it, though. Hi from Stephen and me. Welcome to the programme.
Well, first tonight, it's meant to be the scariest night of the year, but for many it borders on sheer terror.
It's Halloween, of course, and that means scores of youngsters are taking to the streets dressed up as ghosts and ghouls. But while many householders will welcome the trick-or-treaters with bags of sweets, others will be dreading that knock at the door.
Well, Victoria Webb is in Bungay in Suffolk for us tonight, where they're making sure their Halloween passes off peacefully. Victoria.
Yes, this is the 5th pumpkin night in Bungay. It's very surreal, actually, because Bridge Street is a beautiful old street with lots of character. I keep seeing witches and ghosts walking up and down. Now, for some, it is a time of year that they look forward to, but obviously for others, it can be quite a worrying time. They're worried about trick-and-treaters knocking on their door. So for an event like this, it's really good because it offers a safe environment for people to come along, have a bit of fun. Now, Deirdre Shepherd, you are the organiser here. Tell me, what can we expect here tonight?
Well, as you've already said, lots of witches and ghosts and ghouls, small witches, pumpkins, anything you really want to see.
Now, there is a serious side behind this. And tell me about how this all got set up in the first place, because I know you like to offer a safe environment for children.
Yeah. We were just tired of seeing children soaked in flour and eggs, and we wanted to give them a safe environment so the parents could come down with the children, have a really nice evening, free from worry, free from the children, or bad incidents. And this is what we've done. This is our 5th year.
Are you concerned for those people who may live in this area who are quite scared about this time of year?
Yes, I am. But the way we've done it, we now concentrate it in one place, so the people that are frightened won't get someone banging on their door.
Thank you. Well, obviously for some, it is a time of year that they look forward to, but for others, it can be a night of horror.
Out on the streets of Norwich, Inspector Darren Taylor is making sure people are prepared for the night ahead. These posters will be put up on the doors and windows of the houses where trick-or-treaters aren't welcome. Halloween has long been big business in America, but in recent years it's become more commercial here too. This supermarket in Ipswich is one of many cashing in. But while some see it as a chance to dress up and have a bit of fun, others use it as an opportunity to commit crime.
The whole events throughout the year are becoming more and more popular, and so it's certainly being celebrated. So what we want to do is we do want people to celebrate the event, just be respectful of others and have a good time, and be aware that what they consider to be fun may be alarming or distressful to people who don't consider it to be as much fun.
This year, Halloween has fallen on a Friday, which is a busy night for police anyway. Across the region, hundreds of officers from the Special Constabulary will be helping to patrol the streets.
Everything will be judged on its own merits, but the message is we want people to enjoy themselves, but also to recognise that if they do overstep the mark, they will be dealt with.
While many are looking forward to tonight, some are dreading that knock on the door from the trick-or-treaters.
The strangers coming into your clothes and everything. You don't know who there could be.
I've got my outfit and my hat and my broomsticks. I love it.
I don't think children should be going around at night like that at people's doors. Not this day and age, anyway.
Yeah, love it. Yes, it's great.
With November the 5th fast approaching, fireworks could also be a problem tonight. The Bang Out of Order campaign in Harlow aims to reduce antisocial behaviour at this time of year.
Make sure you only knock on doors that the people you know. Make sure the area is well lit. Make sure you're always with an adult. Don't frighten elderly people, because although you want to have fun, it's about being sensible.
A great deal of work has been put in from the police and councils to make this evening run as smoothly as possible. They hope that this Halloween will be a night to remember for all the right reasons.
Well, as you can see, it's already getting busy here. I'm surrounded by witches and skeletons. They had 3,000 people here last year. They're expecting another good turnout. And as everyone is going to be here enjoying the fun along Bridge Street and some of the surrounding streets, then hopefully those who aren't too keen on trick-or-treating in Bungay won't have to worry.
Absolutely. Have a lot of fun there this evening. I think a few of your ghosts and ghouls might have got into our machinery, though. Next tonight, it's one of the world's most prestigious seats of learning. But tonight, Cambridge University is under the spotlight for the wrong reasons.
While in a poll of more than 1,000 undergraduates, very nearly half admitted to cheating by passing other people's work off of their own, with most of the copied material coming from the internet. Emma Baker has more.
It's a centre of academic excellence. But today, Cambridge University found itself at the centre of controversy after a survey revealed almost half of its students admitted to cheating. The research was carried out by Varsity, a Cambridge University student newspaper. Over 1,000 students took part. 49% admitted they had plagiarised or copied work.
We were surprised that there was so many as half, like 1 in 2 students plagiarising. But then, on the other hand, all of the things that the students were doing wasn't actually something that me personally would say was that bad, such as not quoting, not citing sources for some of your ideas.
According to the university, plagiarism is a form of cheating where ideas are taken from someone else and presented as your own. This includes handing in someone else's essay, copying from the internet, and making up statistics or fieldwork. But many students don't know exactly where the boundaries lie.
There's no agreed central definition of what plagiarism is. We've tried to get one for several years, but the university has stalled at every occasion to actually decide on what a central definition of plagiarism would be. It's not teaching its students effectively enough about how to avoid plagiarism, and it's also not really in a position to punish anyone who has cheated.
No one from the university was prepared to talk to us today, but in a statement they said the university regards plagiarism as a serious and potentially disciplinary offence, which can lead to failure to obtain or withdrawal of a degree. The university also uses plagiarism detection software, which was introduced following consultation with the Students' Union and departmental pilots.
Afraid of us know what the university would be able to do about it, I think.
I really think it's bad. I think they should do their own work and not copy others.
I can see why people would do it, if particularly if they're in sort of rush to get work done or whatever. But no, I wouldn't do it myself.
In a year when a record number of people apply to study here, Cambridge University will now want to show it's doing everything it can to tackle this problem. It'll be keen to protect its reputation as one of the top universities in the world. Emma Baker, Anglia News, Cambridge.
And we can assure that that report was all Emma's own work. Now, Sir Bobby Robson has broken the £1 million barrier in raising money for his cancer charity. The former Ipswich Town and England manager set up his own foundation earlier this year after he was diagnosed with cancer for a 5th time.
Last night, some of the top names in sport joined Sir Bobby at a gala event near Newcastle. He says he's determined to fight the disease and make every second count. Malcolm Robertson reports.
He accepts it's a battle he's losing, but Sir Bobby Robson isn't prepared to succumb to cancer without fighting it every inch of the way. Last night, the former Ipswich and England manager was the guest of honour at a special fundraising event in his native northeast. Describing it as the night of all nights, Sir Bobby was joined by other football legends Sir Bobby Charlton and Sir Alex Ferguson. Earlier this year, he founded the Sir Bobby Robson Foundation after he was diagnosed with cancer for a 5th time. It's clearly taken its toll, but in spirit he's as youthful and lively as he was all those years ago in giving Ipswich Town some of the best years in their history.
I'm fighting, I'm doing very well, I always fought. I've got some small health problems, but I've had a bit of radiation, which is a result of losing my hair, but I'm doing all right. I'm eating, I'm sleeping, I'm going to football, and I'm trying to get as much enjoyment out of life as possible.
Sir Bobby underwent some of his early cancer treatment at Ipswich Hospital and returned there to thank staff for their kindness and support. Sadly, he's been dogged by further ill health in recent years and 2 years ago was diagnosed with a brain tumour shortly after being taken ill during a match at Portman Road. It's here in Ipswich that Bobby Robson made his name as a manager, leading the team to the FA Cup and then the UEFA Cup. And although he went on to further success with Barcelona and England, It's this town that really regards him as one of its own, and there's huge admiration here that he's raised so much money for his cancer charity. He set it up with the intention of raising £500,000. Last night's gala event took the sum to more than £1 million.
The kindness and the generosity and the faithfulness of people, for me, has been absolutely overwhelming. And like I'm saying, we've had, I don't know, maybe just under 10,000 ordinary people just chucking in money into my hands.
Simply Red singer Mick Hucknall topped the bill of live performers, and among the other high-profile guests, the former Newcastle and England striker Alan Shearer, who credits Sir Bobby for his success in the game.
His personality, his will to fight whatever's put in front of him, on the football pitch and off the football pitch, and I think everyone loves him, and rightly so.
Football writer Mel Henderson knows Sir Bobby as well as anyone. He's covered Ipswich Town for many years and was the club's press officer when they won the Cup in 1978. To him, it's no surprise that so much has been raised for the charity.
Well, it's typical Bobby. I don't think Bobby's changed in all the years that I've known him, and that would be 30-odd years now. He tackles everything in the same way, and his fight against cancer is so typical of the man. He's using his high profile to raise money for such a good cause, to try and fight this killer disease, and he's not shying away from it. He's fighting it in public, and I admire him for that.
Sir Bobby Robson is rightly proud of what he's achieved in football. What he's doing to help cancer patients gives him just as much pleasure. Malcolm Robertson, Anglia News.
Great man, it's certainly a glittering night. You're watching Anglia Tonight. It's 11 minutes past 6. Still to come, we look ahead to the Essex Derby in the Friday football preview.
We'll also tell you what the weather's going to do this weekend, and as ever, there's much more too.
Here comes the bride in a hearse. We're on the guest list at the ultimate Halloween wedding.
And what links this van, this Suffolk motor racing driver, and Formula One star Lewis Hamilton? Join me later to find out.
And I'll be here with your weekend weather. This was a lovely, bright scene earlier today at the Ipswich Marina. And we've got a fairly decent start to the day tomorrow, but I'm afraid we have rain moving in later on. Join me for all of the weekend forecast at 6:25.
More news now. An Essex County Council is to remove 31 elderly residents from a private care home in Colchester. Council officials say there were concerns over the standards of care and the well-being of residents at the Greenways care home. The authority had been working with the owners to drive up standards, but now the decision's been taken to provide alternative accommodation for the residents. The care home says it believes residents are provided with safe care, but it respects the council's view that transfers should be arranged. The family of one 88-year-old former resident say they've had concerns for some time.
She wasn't getting the care, just general care really, just washing and dressing, and she broke a hip last year, broke a hip this year, and we were having to go up, my sister and I, every day in the last few months to make sure my mum was getting the care she needed.
The Army has decided not to prosecute a soldier accused of a mistake which cost the lives of 3 members of the Royal Anglian Regiment in Afghanistan. 3 soldiers died in Helmand province in August last year. The Anglians were under attack and called for air assistance, but the wrong coordinates were given and a £500 bomb was dropped on the British troops. The case was referred to the Army Prosecuting Authority, which has now decided against prosecuting any individual.
A man seriously injured in a plane crash which claimed the life of a Norfolk media executive has been moved to Addenbrooke's Hospital in Cambridge. 51-year-old Stephen Shutt from Hingham remains in a critical condition after the biplane he was flying in clipped a crop-spraying tractor at an airfield in Seething. He'd been flying with Ian Davies, a director with Archant, the company which publishes titles including the Eastern Daily Press. 49-year-old Mr Davies was declared dead at the scene.
The US Air Force is asking for help to find a door that fell off a refuelling plane as it flew from RAF Mildenhall to the Wash. It was on a routine flight yesterday when the door came off. The USAF are asking anyone who finds the panel to contact them immediately.
Next, they're a vital life-saving service, but now it's been revealed the RAF Search-and-Rescue Team based at Wattisham near Ipswich don't always have a full crew on standby.
Well, the claim comes from none other than a member of the team itself and blames shortages on servicemen being posted to Iraq and Afghanistan. The Ministry of Defence says it's mainly due to other reasons, though. Sally Rourke has more details.
In some of the most difficult conditions, they carry out some of the most daring rescues. The RAF Search and Rescue Team based at Wattisham are a life-saving team. But in an article in the East Anglian Daily Times today, it's alleged there's a shortage of staff here. A member of B Flight 22 Squadron is reported as saying detachments to Iraq and Afghanistan mean there's a lack of manpower. It's reported that this means they don't always have a full crew on standby. On 2 occasions last week, a shortage of crews meant cover was deployed from search and rescue teams based in Yorkshire. Today, the Ministry of Defence admitted there were staff shortages, but that they were caused by a combination of factors. The deployment of individuals overseas, training, and regarding last week, sickness. In a statement, they said, all search and rescue helicopter units in the UK provide overlapping cover for their adjacent units. This is standard practice and is provided when the helicopter from a unit is airborne on a search and rescue sortie or is unserviceable. Local MPs, however, are concerned about the staff situation.
We do know that with many brave servicemen and women out in Afghanistan, others in Iraq, others elsewhere, that the numbers here at home are thin on the ground, and it may well be that overstretch is the problem rather than sickness.
The crews provide an essential service across our region, but it does seem that pressures on them overseas help create their own pressures back home. Sally Rourke, Anglia News, Wattisham.
Some more news in brief now. Engineers are assessing the damage to a shop at Leiston in Suffolk after a car ploughed into it last night. The Alfa Romeo crashed into the shop on the corner of the High Street and Main Street around 10 o'clock last night. Police say no one was hurt and no arrests have been made. It's not thought any other cars were involved.
We live in the flat adjoining at the shop and we heard this huge bang, and next thing my daughter was knocking on the door to say there was a car in the shop. I couldn't believe it. We came rushing round it. What was amazing was the police were here before we could get here. Out of the building, the police were already here.
Millions of counterfeit cigarettes have been found hidden inside containers full of fireworks at the port of Felixstowe. More than 9 million fake cigarettes were discovered in boxes which contained about 4 tons of fireworks. The containers all originated from China and were set to be delivered to Liverpool.
It'll be another month before a decision is made on plans for a new casino in Great Yarmouth. Councillors met last night but deferred a decision on the £35 million proposal after English Heritage raised concerns about the potential impact on the town's Nelson Monument. Great Yarmouth was chosen as one of 16 venues for a regional casino last year.
Hundreds of people were at the annual Oyster Feast at Colchester Town Hall today. The event dates back to the time of Charles II and was attended by civic dignitaries as well as people from the town who are active in local charities. Special guest this year was former Minister of State for Trade, Lord Digby Jones. Oysters from Colchester are well known for their quality and all of the guests certainly seemed to enjoy tucking in. They did.
All right, I feel like I have to say I'm not an oyster fan, even though...
Take it or leave it, me.
Never mind. OK, we're here till 6:30, of course, and then we hand over to the national news. Here's what's coming up then.
Coming up on tonight's evening news, clean up your act. The head of the BBC Trust says there will be consequences for anyone who goes too far in the future. And Jonathan Ross confirms he won't be presenting the British Comedy Awards on ITV1.
Plus, the offensive website that's trying to throw Lewis Hamilton off course as he bids to be crowned Formula One champion this weekend.
And through sadness comes hope. Remarkable new pictures of baby pandas born in the aftermath of the Chinese earthquake. Those stories and more at 6:30.
Well, sport now, and both Ipswich and Norwich are in action tomorrow, but it's the lunchtime kick-off in the Essex derby that dominates tonight's preview.
Both sides are missing their star strikers, Stephen Gillespie for Colchester, Dougie Freedman for Southend, for what promises to be a colourful affair. Here's Jim Rice.
It's all about blue at Southend. Bring your blue hats, blue scarves and blue flags is the message to fans as the Blues play the U's in the Essex derby.
Thank you very much.
Down at the training ground, it's half-term, and the autograph hunters are also getting ready for a costume drama.
I've got a Southend t-shirt, a Southend pencil, Southend scarf and hat.
This jacket, my Southend top, my hat, cap, scarf.
Southend covers, Southend pillow, a Southend clock.
You can't bring all that to the game, though, can you?
No.
I'm going to be wearing a Southend United shirt and kit and socks.
Isn't that going to be a bit cold?
Yeah, I think it's going to be cold.
Even the shops are in on the act, but who'll be the bridesmaids tomorrow? Steve Tilson's been waiting for this week since the fixtures came out in the summer. Already a win over his boyhood heroes Leeds, now his local rivals.
Having them on a Tuesday and a local derby v Colchester on Saturday, we're not going to get two big games, on the trot. So, looking forward to Saturday. I'm sure it'll be hectic to start with, but once it settles down, I think it'll be a good footballing match.
After Tuesday night's whiteout at Northampton, Paul Lambert's getting ready for the white heat of Roots Hall. Not that the former Celtic player is a stranger to derbies.
I think where you go anywhere in the world to watch a derby game, I think the intensity is always there. Without it, you can't play it, let alone anything else. And away from home, a tight ground, and you'll have to be ready for the battle first and foremost.
The first Essex derby for 2 seasons kicks off at 1 p.m. Talks of moves to the Premiership are all behind John Walters, with the winger signing a deal that keeps him at Portman Road until 2012. A clean slate before QPR tomorrow.
I'm very happy to continue in the future to Ipswich, and I know the club's going in the right direction, so I'm pleased with it.
It's not exactly Jonathan Ross and Russell Brand, but Glenn Roeder has his own problems ahead of a trip to Turf Moor. An FA improper conduct charge after an incident during Tuesday night's defeat at Derby. But will he appeal?
I'm going to keep my own counsel at the moment. The less said, probably the better.
Leroy Leiter's available at Burnley, but this could be his last game, unless a new loan deal is struck. Jim Rice, Anglia News.
And you can see all the goals from tomorrow's league games here on ITV Anglia. Anglia Goals is in our Sunday afternoon bulletin, which starts at just after 20 to 4.
Now, this weekend, Lewis Hamilton could create history by becoming the youngest Formula One world champion.
And among the motor racing fans across the region who'll be watching his exploits on ITV1 on Sunday is a racing driver from Suffolk who has strong links with the Hamilton household. Donovan Blake has more.
There's never a crash helmet too far away from Emma Selway. As a budding motor racing star, that doesn't sound surprising. But Emma's talents aren't limited to the racing track. And life in the fast lane is no understatement for the 19-year-old from Bradfield Cumbus near Bury St Edmunds. She already has a motorbike licence, a pilot's licence, she skis, she snowboards, she even scuba dives. Where does she get it from?
Obviously the freedom of being able to jump into a cart or on a bike as it was initially, that got the adrenaline flowing. Before that I was on horses anyway, so obviously that's a little bit more sedate than the actual speed freak side of me.
Yeah, I did a little bit of flying and a bit of motorbike driving and a bit of karting, but she seems to have taken it to extreme. She certainly has such a passion.
Emma's main ambition, however, is to make it to the top in motorsport. She couldn't have wished for a better mentor early in her career than Lewis Hamilton's dad, Anthony. Their paths crossing while Emma was looking for a van for her karting.
There was a silver Sprinter parked on this guy's drive with Lewis Hamilton Motorsport written down the side of it. It was absolutely perfect. So we sat around, chatted with Anthony for a bit, told him what I was doing. He told us what Lewis was doing at the time. And yeah, since that point we kept in touch. He came to watch a few of my kart races, and kept in touch ever since.
His influence certainly had the desired effect, with Emma earning her first ever podium finish in the Formula Renault Championships 2 seasons ago. She's just completed her first season in the Palmer Audi Championship, finishing 13th overall, and now wants to push herself even further. Like most British motor racing fans, Emma will be hoping Hamilton can make history in Brazil on Sunday.
It's a win or lose situation. He's got everything to win or everything to lose. So I think he certainly has to play it strategically. But I certainly think he's got the head on him to be able to do it, and he knows exactly what he's got to do.
There's plenty of other drivers battling to join the Formula One scene in years to come. Emma Selway could be just one of them. Donovan Blake, Anglia News, Suffolk.
And in first practice today, Hamilton was second fastest, but only by a few hundredths of a second from his closest rival, Felipe Massa. ITV1 will have qualifying live tomorrow from 3:10, and race coverage from Brazil starts at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon.
Finally tonight, it is of course Halloween, and we've already heard that for some it can be a bit of a nuisance. But to many others, it's a chance to really get into the spirit, or should that be spirits?
Well, one couple from Norfolk have chosen Halloween as their day to give the whole new meaning to Until Death Us Do Part. Don't worry though, it does have a happy ending, as Stuart Leiths now explains.
It's a joyous day. Trust me, it really is a happy occasion. Today was Alexandria Hagan's Gothic wedding day in the Register office at North Walsham in Norfolk.
I've got a very good friend of mine who's an undertaker, and him and his wife had come to the wedding, and we just laughed and said, would it be possible? And he said, I've got a very good friend who might be able to do it. And next thing he rang me back and said, yes, we've got her. So hence, I rang her up and she couldn't believe it until this morning.
Elsewhere, to mark Halloween this year, the East Anglian Film Archive has put together a film of the region's best ghostly tales. Ghosts of East Anglia includes archive footage and interviews with people who claim to have had supernatural experiences. It'll be shown at Norwich's Cinema City in November. And in Lowestoft, every year, Andy Hemmings enjoys Halloween so much that he transforms his entire home into a haunted house.
Halloween's always got a bad reputation. People don't like children knocking on the doors, and I think having a house where people can come to, having a nice focal point, kind of makes the area just a little bit safer. People don't feel so scared, they're not so intimidated.
Back at our wedding, it turned out that despite their reputation, even goths want to live happily ever after.
It's my privilege now to say that you're both husband and wife together.
Having a white wedding was something we definitely didn't want. We wanted to have something different. Our whole relationship has been different, so yeah, we thought that'd be a white wedding just wouldn't have fit.
So some might choose a Rolls Royce, others might want a horse and carriage, but for their Gothic wedding on Halloween, the happy couple today chose a 1987 Daimler DS420 hearse. Stuart Leiths, Anglia News, North Walsham.
It's different, it's appropriate, and congratulations to them, I say.
Now, seeing as it's Halloween, I must show you this tie that I've been sent. It's from, where are we? Jack and Jake from North Walsham, so thanks, boys. Very
appropriate.
And then the best bit about this is if I do this. Can you hear that?
Just about. Spooky.
Scary.
Here's the weather with not very spooky, Amanda Houston.
For a sunnier future, financial planning from Norwich and Peterborough, sponsors of Anglia Weather.
Hello there. Well, the weekend starts off dry and there will be some good sunny spells, but we are expecting a lot of rain later tomorrow. So we can see for the first part of Saturday, most of the UK stays dry. However, as we move later into the afternoon, this band of rain is pushed along by this low pressure here, which is bringing some outbreaks of rain over the next couple of days. So in the meantime, back to the rest of today. And if you are trick-or-treating this Halloween, wrap up warm as it's another cold night. And the further east you are, there is more chance of a shower, and that's with lows of 3 degrees. So it's a cloudy start to the weekend with more scattered showers, but we will see some sunshine in between. And that cloud will increase by the afternoon, bringing lots of rain into the south before spreading across all of the region by the evening. And that's with highs of around 9 degrees. And I'm afraid the rain from Saturday night hangs around on Sunday, bringing some heavy outbreaks at times. But the rain will eventually clear and it will become a little milder with top temperatures of around 12 degrees. So looking ahead to next week, and we can see another area of low pressure moves nearer our region, which means that things will remain wet and unsettled from Monday right through to Wednesday. So on to the outlook, and there's more cloud and rain to come in the new working week. Those winds stay fresh in a north-easterly direction and the temperatures become milder at around 10 or 11 degrees. That's it from me then. Have a lovely weekend. Bye-bye.
Financial planning from the experts at Norwich and Peterborough.
I don't know if it's because it's Halloween, but it's spookily chilly in the studio tonight.
It's these ghosts you see on my tie. There we are.
So we're off. Have a nice weekend. See you on Monday. Good night.
Good night.